I'm Liam from Turn Sounds, and a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking, a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show. This episode we'll be discussing Season 10, Episode 12, Walk With Us.
Walk with us.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Why was it called that, I wonder?
Theories? Go for it.
Oh.
Well, I've got
wow.
an answer, but did you have a thought?
No, I got
Okay.
nothing. That was...
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure it doesn't Beta say... Oh, actually, let's get through the intro
Okay.
and the spoiler warning first.
Okay.
And then we'll get to that. So, welcome to Just Keep Walking. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Ben, joined by...
Liam.
And...
Isaac. Pardon me. That was
Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. So we're here today talking about this episode. It's sorry this one's a bit of a later release. I was
Yeah.
away on holiday, but what can you do? It's bad timing.
You
I was
picked it great.
Yeah. Like, why'd it have to be this one? But
But
Oh,
we
well.
had more time to process it.
that's true. Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Mm.
so I've got lots of notes here for that. So pretty much, well, I'll give like a spoiler warning. So we're going to talk about the whole episode and everything that's happened so far in the series. So spoiler warning in case you haven't seen it, but nothing upcoming or from the comics that hasn't happened yet on the show. So
Spoilers
Isaac,
ahead.
thank you for that. Sorry, I saw you lean back about to yell something. I was like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
We
Yeah.
owe it to the listeners.
We do. So we're pretty much going to give like our overall impressions on the episode first off, then we'll get into more of an in-depth review, and then we've got a few segments and things that we'll do afterwards. So yeah, you have been warned for spoilers. So real quick, with the title thing, I'm pretty sure doesn't Beta after he's like stabbed Gamma say
yeah.
you will walk with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one.
And what's her name? Alpha. She wanted Lydia to walk with him as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And even I think in the last episode when her and Negan were talking about, oh, are you going to spare the people from Hilltop? She was like, oh, they'll be... I don't know if she said they'll walk with us, but something along those lines. They'll be part of the Horde or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Part of our horde.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So probably a few things, but there you go. A quick thing as well. I just want to shout out the Darrellettes on Instagram. They've recently visited thankfully before this whole virus thing broke out and all big events had to be shut down, they got to go to Supernova over in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I sent them a
Yeah.
couple of things which they actually got signed for me by
Oh, that is awesome.
by the cast. So yeah, thanks heaps for doing that. That's Jerry, Aaron, and Lydia, who are there obviously.
That is cool.
The actors, but yeah,
nice.
So the Darrellettes, was it?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, the
so-
real MVPs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check them out on Instagram. They post lots of good Daryl stuff if you're a
Yeah.
Daryl fan. Yeah, and lastly, also this was like a Greg Nicotero directed episode. So pretty much
Ah.
he's like the head makeup sort of effects guy. So he does all the zombie makeup and
That makes
and
so
dresses
much
them up
sense.
and everything. Yeah, so he tends to direct most of the big event episodes, most of the premieres and finales, or anytime something really big happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sort of like a heads up to to something big's going down. But did you like notice that more close-ups
That
and
was-
presence of zombies and all that?
Absolutely. That was like one of my opening notes for the battle scene that we saw straight at the start. I was like, gee, they look good.
Absolutely.
Like it was funny because I had a follow-on thought from that straight away of how do they all look the same as far as like their level of decayingness.
Sure,
Like
sure.
the entire horde seems like they died at the exact same spot, and now like they're all the. But then I was like, maybe they did,
I mean, Alpha
Maybe.
is nothing if not consistent.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, the close-ups we were getting of those, I was like, wow, like they have just outdone themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. And I guess that's the thing when it's the makeup guy also directing it. He knows how to, what angles are best, how to
Yeah.
show off the work really well. So, yeah, so that was a plus. So, yeah, overall, what were your guys' thoughts on the episode?
Look, I'm not going to lie. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Just because it's still running through my head, all of it. I mean, it was such
Yeah.
a big episode. It felt like it was over before it started.
Yeah,
mean,
right.
The battle that happened at the start was great, and initially I thought, this is very short. I wanted it to be a bit drawn out, but then everything that started happening right from there, I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, overall, I loved it. It was such a good episode.
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, I'm still recovering from it.
Okay.
Mentally recovering.
Almost a week later, still recovering.
Yeah, you could see the build up coming, but I still didn't expect it. And
So you hadn't seen any spoilers or anything? Oh, I'm jealous. You're like,
You had seen spoilers.
I'll get into that maybe when but what were your overall thoughts?
I
first of
was
all?
enthralled. That was easily my favorite episode of the whole season.
For sure.
One of the only ones I can say I haven't yet seen it twice, but
Okay.
usually, like all of these episodes of this series, it's kind of like one and done sort of thing.
Sure, yeah.
The rewatchability is only so, but this one I'll go back and go. Yeah, there was a lot about it. Intense parts. Obviously some major character deaths and some things that we sort of brought up earlier on regarding Mary.
Sure.
About her longevity with the show and whatnot.
Yeah, that was a shock.
Yeah, so much of
Yeah.
that, and yeah, I was enjoying it. And I've got notes, but we'll get to those.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet.
And yourself?
Yeah, well, I really liked the episode and everything. My experience was definitely tainted by
no.
having it spoiled.
Who
so
did this? Who did this to you?
More than a couple of people on Instagram and Facebook who. It was literally like I was being careful not to scroll through Instagram or whatever too much, but literally I just it happened with Facebook and Instagram. I opened the app and the very first thing that comes up is literally a picture of Alpha's head cut off.
Oh,
Are you serious? So part of the problem is, people posting it, but also that AMC Premiere, they've got a thing where in America, if you subscribe to that, you can see it 2 days earlier. So people just watch that and then just post it straight away before everyone else has the chance to see it.
some men just want to watch the world burn.
I
Yeah.
know, hey, yeah. So, and a few of them, they put spoiler alert in the description. But it's I've already seen the picture. It's a bit late.
That doesn't
might-
make it okay.
you might say
Yeah.
they got ahead of themselves.
Oh,
Hey.
very good, very good. So that's a little annoying, and I do appreciate the people out there who went
Oh,
the
yeah.
extra effort to make sure they didn't post spoilers or put up appropriate warnings. But hey, that's going to happen, and I hope that AMC don't keep doing that for future seasons, releasing it early to some people, or at least make it available everywhere. Because we're in Australia, and you can only subscribe to that in
Yeah.
America. So
It's like if you've got your chat forums which are dedicated to that, then go ahead.
yeah, absolutely.
But isn't it the golden rule? Wait 3 days at least.
Sure,
before
or
you-
at least until it actually airs
Yeah.
for everyone. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
definitely. But yeah, that's all right. I still really enjoyed the episode despite knowing what was coming.
Oh, can I
Yeah.
just take that one step further? Just
Sure.
because if there are people that are listening, people need to hear this, okay?
Yeah.
It happened with Game of Thrones as well, where it's like
Okay.
you might not be posting an inherent spoiler,
Yeah.
but it's like,
yeah.
take Arya, for example, just as one of the things. Somebody, and I won't name and shame, but somebody would watch it in the afternoon as America got it and then go, oh yeah, Arya, such great work on the episode today or something.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
yeah.
why, just not hard.
And it's not hard to put two and two together for what they're talking about. Yeah.
Oh man, or like, oh, what a brilliant ending or something. And just don't say anything. Nothing
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yes, go Negan. I always hated Alpha.
Yeah,
well, I think we kind of know what you're talking about.
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, wow, that episode. Yeah, it's on the edge because it kind of gives people a heads up something's coming, but that's okay, I guess. But yeah, be considerate if you're one of those people.
And I get we live in a troll culture,
Sure.
and it's different if you might fake tease the death of someone else, just to
yeah,
be
yeah.
a troll and whatever.
Totally.
But yeah,
But a legit spoiler, you're like, come on, man.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. But I did sort of, regardless of that, already, and you too, Liam, have sort of a heads up, pardon the pun, that it was coming, just because that happened in the comics as well, sort of around this time. So that actually, we were talking a few episodes ago about the praying mantis line. He said like, "Oh, is this one of those situations where one of them cuts the other one's head off afterwards?" And yeah, so that was a good little bit of foreshadowing there.
So you guys already knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah,
What?
well, that it happened in the
Yeah.
comics, but they do tend to change it up sometimes for the show. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's not
Interesting.
always gonna happen the same way, but big events like that, sometimes it's like, oh, that's pretty likely.
Mm.
Yeah. Although the fact that it was Carol who sort of had, I guess, coordinated it was that wasn't in the comics, and that was a big surprise. Which
Right.
we'll get into that in a bit, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, really like the episode. There are a few little details and sort of nitpicks that I didn't like so much, but I love just even that, you know, is what, episode 12. It's just a random sort of episode in the middle. It's not a big finale or anything, and we get 3 major deaths and all this big events. So I like when they're getting back to doing that. It makes it a bit less predictable.
Yeah.
And yeah.
3 major deaths.
So Gamma, Earl, and Alpha.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
count
forgot about
Earl
Earl.
as
Yeah.
somewhat
Oh,
major.
don't forget about Earl.
Yeah.
Sorry, Earl.
Yeah.
What a committed guy.
Yeah, totally. So that's I mean, even with Laurie's death, like that's a pretty major one, and her and T-Dog, and that was just in like episode 4. So it kind of came out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, this is the finale, something big's gonna happen. So I really do like when they do that. It sort
I
of keeps
agree.
you on your toes a bit more.
Mm.
It sort of highlights what that sort of environment will be like, wouldn't it? It's not going to be just
Absolutely.
an expected, oh, there's a big thing coming up. Like, no, this is a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
But death is literally around every single corner.
totally.
I like that.
Nobody expects the day that they die, do they?
No.
So
Yeah,
why should it be made a big deal of?
that's it. All right, so we'll get
That was
into
deep, I'm
That
sorry.
was very deep.
and I brushed it off. I'm sorry.
You guys just nodded along solemnly.
I'm processing it still.
Wow. I'm sorry. And
No,
yet I
it's good.
smiled.
So we'll talk a bit about the battle at the start, and then maybe we'll branch out into talking about just some of the characters, because it's sort of the episode's kind of split up into different groups of characters. So maybe we'll just talk about one group at a time. Probably the easiest way to do it. So yeah, the battle. What did you think of that one?
All right, I'll go.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, so AMC, if you're listening to this, I am
Hmm.
not saying that you took my idea of the walkers piling up on dead
Oh.
bodies of walkers.
Ah.
I'm not saying that you need to thank me or pay me for that idea.
However, his bank account details are.
Yeah, look in the show notes below. So yeah, that happened, and I just nodded along.
Yeah.
Actually, even though there was nobody watching, I just nodded and went, "Yep, there you go. That's what would happen."
The
I
nod of
imagine.
approval.
I
Yeah.
knew you'd be like happy that happened.
Because it makes sense.
Yeah.
After that
Yeah.
many hordes and you're stabbing them all, you're going to get a body count. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
That was clever.
Yeah, I felt like the battle was over quite quickly.
Mm.
Maybe if we'd seen it all together as one big sequence, you know, the last episode and this one as one in one episode, it
Sure.
would have been better.
Yeah.
But from the end of the last episode, where you see from behind Daryl, you know, the entire fort is up in flames, and it makes it feel like they can't get back into there.
Mm.
And then this one, it cuts to them just already inside of there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like it when they do that. And it's happened a few times. So there was in season 6, there was like the mid-season finale of them walking out, and Sam, the little boy, he's like, Mom,
Yeah.
Mom, in the middle of the
Yeah.
horde. And then when it comes back, it's like that never happened, and it's like nighttime, and it's like
That kid.
completely different. So yeah, it does seem a bit like, oh, were you guys talking to each other, like the directors, or like what happened here? But yeah, that's annoying. Oh well, what can you do?
it was fun to see Hilltop, especially the massive mansion. Like we see this progression with like the sets and stuff like that over the over the period of the seasons and whatnot. And when we first saw it, it was this big grand sort of thing with Gregory at the helm, and now it's like
Yeah.
reduced to ash, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, time moves on.
Absolutely.
I
like
enjoyed
that.
seeing that.
Although I feel like overall with the battle, it was really hurt by the budget. Just like I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I won't talk specifics. But yeah, for like one of the biggest shows on TV, like it's raking in so much money, they can easily afford to pump more money into it, but they're really like it's a fraction of what a Game of Thrones episode gets as far as budget goes.
What would you have them add to it though?
Well, so I feel like, well, the shortness of the battle could have even been like, they could have done a whole epic episode out of it, like Game of Thrones has done.
Right.
And there were plenty of other sort of scenes throughout the rest of the season that you could have cut down on, or even gotten rid of the Whisperers episode to do more of this. So I don't know, something, but yeah. So I feel like doing it over 2 episodes where you cut halfway through the battle and then resume. That was sort of a way to make it feel a little bit longer without actually, doing a long battle.
Yeah, it was a whole week-long battle.
Yeah, that's it. That's
What
it.
do you want?
Yeah, and actually one thing specifically. So you were talking about like Barrington House burning down and all
That's
that.
what it's
There
called.
we go.
Yeah, nice.
Well done.
I felt like the farm in season 2 was more epic, and that was
Yes.
Right.
So I don't know what they did for this one as far as, the set and stuff like that, but it felt very much like close up. You're seeing bits of fire here and there, but it wasn't really like a whole wide shot of, oh, wow, this is epic. This is like huge, the fire and everything. Whereas for season 2, they actually built and burnt down the whole barn and
Right.
did it all for real. So, yeah, it just felt a little bit cheap in some of those, I don't know, some of those details. When you look back at it, it was like, oh, I don't know. It didn't quite feel as epic as it could have been to me. But yeah, that's sort of a nitpick, though. It was a good battle.
Well,
That makes sense.
if we're comparing the two, just briefly, between Game of Thrones and Walking Dead,
Sure,
you
yeah.
know, Game of Thrones being this faraway land that we've never even heard of, and all of that.
Yeah.
Whereas Walking Dead, it is set on Earth, just in a different sort of
Yeah, absolutely.
universe type thing. So I wonder, because it's set on Earth in a place that we very well know, and the film grain on all of the episodes is enough to make it feel sort of gungy and dirty
Sure.
and broken down and sort of thing. Because it is a very much a broken down world, I wonder if it is almost better that they don't resort to, flashy explosions and, wide scale battles and stuff like that. If it does feel cramped and
Yeah, that's fair.
almost under budget in a way that doesn't look, because they're sparing no
Sure.
expenses with the zombies, as we've seen.
Sure, yeah, true.
So
Yeah, no, that's fair. I guess the way you show it can definitely be different. Yeah. I guess I just mainly even the time I would have liked a bit of a
Right.
longer battle. You had the whole of last week's episode was like
prep.
it was like 35 minutes of build up for this big battle, and then like 5 minutes of battle and maybe 5 minutes in this episode, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I just would have liked a bit more, but it was good anyway. And the cinematography as well, I think. I kind of touched on that already, but they were just, yeah, I don't know. It could have felt more epic, I think. I feel like a lot of the shots feel very TV-like.
Static and
Actually, one comparison. So this, it wasn't me who thought of this. Was Makerpath Presents on YouTube. He's got lots of great content, so check them out. But he sort of compared like season 1. You've got this shot of Rick in the middle of the city, and he turns around a corner and holds his gun up and shoots the walker, and it's all in one shot, and it looks really cool.
yeah.
Whereas here you've got someone firing a gun, and then you cut to another shot of the walker falling down, which is a lot easier to film and a lot cheaper.
Yep.
But it just, yeah, it feels choppy because you're sort of cutting to close up of this, close up of that, and it doesn't quite feel as fluid or cinematic as
Absolutely.
some of the earlier seasons. So that's a bit of a nitpick, but I think I was just trying to narrow down what was it about it that made it feel a bit mediocre to me. But yeah. So we got Alden, Kelly, and Mary out on the road after that, which I really liked having them as like a group, because all three of them are sort of like, I wouldn't say minor characters, but smaller characters who haven't had as much screen time or story.
That's fair.
And I like giving a bit of a spotlight to them once in a while, and even to potentially grow them into bigger characters for the future. So yeah, what do you guys think of that group?
I'm actually just thinking now, correct me if I'm wrong, Alden was one of the ones who was originally kidnapped by Alpha, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
him and Luke.
And Luke.
were-
Yeah, so it makes so much more sense now that he was so anti-Mary.
True.
Yeah.
Like, despite her coming over to the good side, so to speak, like
Mm,
she was amongst that group, I assume,
mm.
who held him at knife point and said, "Give us Lydia, or we're going to cut these guys' throats."
Yeah, true. True.
So that makes sense. But I really like their dynamics,
Hmm.
and it was nice to see how he sort of swallowed his pride. I guess I'm like, all right, well, let's see if she can help out.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Crying baby will do
Yeah.
that to people.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I thought they were all brilliant. It was a really cool little group.
Definitely. It felt very similar to season 4, the second half, after the prison sort of burnt down, where you've got these different little groups all you know, walking away to somewhere. So, and I like just those opportunities to do odd pair-ups of people we don't usually see interacting or don't see much of at all. So like Kelly, you know, she's in the group, in Magna's group that's come through, but she's sort of been in the background and had a few little moments. But yeah, it's good to just have all those guys there, and I like Alden too. Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah,
Yeah, Alden's nice.
definitely. There's I'm getting all my little nitpicks out of the way at the start.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the stuff I love. Even just that chat with the baby and stuff. So I was like, oh no, you can't hold this baby. No way, no way. And then, oh yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's,
Yeah.
there's no way you're ever gonna hold this baby.
Yeah, that's it. And then 2 seconds
Lol
later.
jokes.
Fine.
I feel like there's so many easy ways to do that. You just have a pile of walkers like are coming, and if this baby doesn't stop crying, then they're all going to get eaten.
Yeah.
Or something else happens, but like it was just like, oh no, you can't. Oh yeah, okay, here you go.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
the baby. So that felt a little bit. It could have used a little bit of fine tuning, I think. Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, sad to see Mary go though so early. That was
Yeah.
sad, but also refreshing that they're just doing unexpected deaths like this that really sort of come out of nowhere and
Was it
keep
really
you on your
unexpected
toes.
to you guys?
Yeah, for me, at least as far as the overall plot. Like if you said who would die
Right.
in this episode, I
Right.
wouldn't have picked her by any means.
Yeah. For me, this is where the camera work got a little sloppy.
Okay.
Taking you back one scene where the baby is crying. Anytime there's a scene with the baby crying, they very conveniently like cover the baby's face with like a something, or like the camera angles over the shoulder so you can never see him. Like, that baby's not crying. You're not fooling anyone. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Mary goes on this killing spree, and she looks like she's enjoying herself, which is actually fun.
Yeah.
You know, she knocks them all out, and then very purposefully the camera makes it so that she's on the far right side of the frame with massive open space on the screen. We're like, oh, you're not showing what's directly behind her for some reason. And then, like, you know, she looks up at the sky and, oh, isn't this brilliant? And then turn around straight into a knife. Like,
Yeah, right.
I didn't know who it was going to be, but I'm like, you're dead.
That's fair. That's understandable. Yeah. I did
Understandable.
like that moment of her sort of, you know, smiling and stuff like
Was
that, where
nice,
it's like,
yeah.
hey, I'm actually, you know, redeeming myself now, and I'm on the other side. I'm out of this. So,
Nothing
yeah.
bad's ever going to happen to me now.
So that was sad. But hey.
Man, how brutal was Beta though, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like gutting it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Although, so Mary like rips half his mask off,
Yeah.
and then he turns around and there's another whisperer there who goes, "It's you. I recognize your voice, but I wasn't sure."
Yeah.
So what do we think?
So you teased something a little while back, and I could only remember that, but it was
Yeah.
enough to make me go, huh. Where you guys referenced that he was like a country singer or something like that.
Yeah. So it's, again, not my theory, but that's the most popular one out there, just because there's been a pile of little clues and stuff like that. I really couldn't tell you how it's going to be relevant to the plot or anything like that, but I'm interested to see for sure. But that seems to be the most likely one, is that he was like a really famous singer, or, you know, like a celebrity, and someone's going to recognize him, and that'll play in somehow, I guess. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Again, I think it's only because you mentioned it that meant anything to me.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be super confused.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's fair. One
Now-
other thing in that scene when he's just killed Mary and he's like putting her down, laying her against the tree.
Yeah.
So this, I don't know if she found it, but this is Stephanie Siegelin. Sorry if I said the name wrong. In the Walking Dead Stuff and Things group on Facebook.
Stuff
She-
and what?
Thangs.
There you go.
Okay. She posted a picture, and if you look closely, when he's leaning down, he's got inside his jacket, you can see like his iPhone in the inside pocket.
Really?
Yeah, maybe we'll post that one on Instagram, but I'm showing you
Wow.
guys now. So that was a funny little detail.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there
Wow.
you go.
Things people look out for in these.
I would have never spotted that, but
No.
yeah, someone did.
I thought you were gonna say like a harmonica or something, like he's
Harmonica.
country, country music.
like a
Oh,
microphone.
could be. Who knows? Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the majority of what happens with those guys. Then we got Elle, Judith, and all the other kids. So there was a bit of Judith sort of in the battle at the start where she kills someone thinking that it's a walker, but then it turns out to be a whisperer. And
Yeah.
and it's the first time you've seen her actually, attack or actually kill a living person who's not just a zombie. So
Unless you count
Yeah.
Beta, her shooting him.
yeah, true, yeah, but she didn't actually kill him, I guess, is the only thing. So yeah,
Should have double tapped.
Yeah,
should have
double tapped.
definitely, yeah.
Rookie.
But and especially just the situation of the person going, no, please, begging for mercy and stuff like that. I thought that was an interesting little sort of character arc for her to have to deal with that at the start, and then also then have to sort of face it and kill zombie Earl at the end. She's sort of
Yeah.
really having to mature quite quickly in a lot of these situations.
Yeah.
You know what did confuse me about that though? Not the
Hmm.
Earl in particular,
Yeah.
but the whisperer she killed. She stabbed him. It was her. Sorry, she
Yeah.
stabbed her in the stomach.
Yeah.
So assuming that she was under the impression that was a walker, she's like, "Well, I'm just gonna turn around and stab this,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
zombie in the stomach and hope for the
Yeah.
best." Like, she would have been eaten.
That's fair, yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah, I don't know if that was
I f-
their way of highlighting that she was aware that it was potentially a whisperer, or
Maybe. I think we've seen a couple of times in the past her like slash a zombie across the legs or the stomach and sort of knock it over and then go for the head stab once it's down. So
But
maybe that
stabbing
was
in the
that's
stomach,
her
though?
move. Yeah,
it's not really going to take someone down to the ground.
that's a fair point. Yeah, I hadn't
Yeah,
thought
that
of
did
that.
surprise me. But I did like that sort of reverse arc, I guess you could call it, where she sees a zombie, what she thinks is a zombie, tries to kill it, turns out to be a person. Like, oh wow, she's then faced with
Yeah.
seeing someone who she knows become a zombie, so would very much look like Earl that she knows and loves. So she then has to kill that as well.
That's
That's
interesting.
that'd be a very tough thing to have to wrestle with.
I like that. Yeah, how it
Mm.
sort of mirrors itself.
Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool. Any thoughts, Isaac?
None whatsoever.
Or okay, so about these sort of this group in general, I liked Elle. Did
Did
you?
you?
Yeah. I don't know. He hadn't really done like heaps. He wasn't a major character, but the few moments where we'd seen him, like particularly I think back to when they were putting out the fire and like him and Alden's relationship. He's like, oh, it's going to be a long night. I don't know. There's just something about him that seemed like he was real wise and experienced.
Because wasn't he like the guy with the drinking problem as well? Like passed and
That's
like
right. Yeah.
went to go and try and kill
Yeah. Maggie.
Maggie. I was gonna say Carol. I wish.
Forgot about
Maggie.
that.
Yeah. So he's been around, since the start of season 9. Yeah, he wasn't like a major character, but I wanted to see more of him at least. You can't get everything you want, can you?
No.
Yeah. Oh well, there we go.
There you go.
R.I.P. Earl.
Yeah.
And I just love how Judah's being used really throughout the last few episodes and really the whole season. It just seems like an appropriate amount. Like they're not doing anything silly where she's out on the front lines. I was saying this last week.
Yeah.
In situations where a kid really shouldn't be, but they haven't just forgotten about her or swept her to the side. They're still giving her enough story that's realistic and makes sense. So I really like what they're doing with that. It's cool.
Yeah.
And a big plus at the end of that. So afterwards, when Daryl and the group find them, and Daryl kind of sits down and gives her a hug, that was a nice moment.
Yeah.
But the big plus for that, which you guys probably, or Isaac might have noticed at least, was that the music faded out nice and gently, which is very, you can't take that for granted with at least the Foxtel version of the show that we get, because usually it just like cuts and fades really abruptly.
Yep.
So
I did
maybe
actually.
they're listening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Wow,
you
we
go.
should get some other points across.
That's it. What else?
Yeah.
And start charging the money for this too.
True. Oh, well, one step,
Intellectual property. IP,
Consultants for
baby.
AMC.
IP.
one step at a time. Another sort of different like pairing group that we haven't seen before was Carol, Yumiko, Magna, and Eugene. Magna, that's another big talking point, because last we saw of her, she was stuck in the cave.
I nearly punched my TV because I thought she was a walker at first.
Yeah.
Like, no!
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't bothered actually.
Yeah?
I never thought she was a walker because she just didn't look like one.
Okay.
She was in the crowd, but like her eyes were like wide open, and she was like looking around and not making the classic zombie noises.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you have someone behind you that's pushing you? Like, how are you able to walk in the herd and not be noticed? I don't know. But seeing her, I was like, oh, great. That means Connie is, somewhere around the corner. That must
absolutely.
mean, surely, right?
Sure.
Right? No.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't like too much how they did that right at the start. It was like a really brief shot of her,
Yeah.
and I was like, Liam, just okay, is it a walker or is she alive? And then it just cuts to the opening titles, and you don't get back to it for another like 15 minutes. So
But then she's just with them.
Yeah, you don't get
that's
to
it.
see her in the battle at all.
I would have liked it to linger on the shot of her a bit more, and even she can look up at Yumiko or something, and just to give that confirmation. But oh well.
Is
That's
she
right.
Australian? Yumiko, or New Zealand?
Or
something?
British, isn't she?
British.
She sounds British on the
yeah.
show. Yeah.
Naturally British, or?
Oh no. You just wanted me to say that, didn't you?
Well, actually, though, she sounds a little bit Aussie to me, maybe.
Really?
Some of the ways that
Okay.
she talks.
Yeah, potentially.
That or New Zealander. Sometimes it's both.
I feel like it might just be because everyone else is so American in the show. Like it stands out as
Maybe.
I definitely feel it's a British accent, but yeah,
There you
bits of
go.
Aussie as well for sure. There's similarities between the two. Yeah, so at least Magna's alive, and that gives us a lot of hope for Connie as well. We'll have to wait and see where that goes.
Just tugging on the heartstrings, though.
That's right. Yeah, I think.
Oh, speaking of,
Yeah.
if I may, tugging on the heartstrings, seeing Luke on a stretcher
Oh,
with a bit of a head wound, I actually let out a oh because I was like, no, hashtag long live Luke. He's my
if
boy.
anything happens to Luke, man, you'll
Ah.
be Devo. Yeah.
I won't. I'll have no voice on this podcast. I'll just
Yeah.
be silent.
I
Mad.
think that I don't think they've made like announcements about this, but my theory for both him and for Connie is that so he's Dan Fogler's shooting Fantastic Beasts 3, and also Lauren Ridloff, who's Connie, is in the Eternals, which is an upcoming Marvel one. So
Yep.
so probably that could be why they're sort of writing them off, or giving them reasons to be sort of off the show for a
Right.
few episodes, so they can have time, in the schedule to do both, and then they'll bring him back later on maybe. But that could be why they've knocked out Luke and they've got Connie missing, so that there's
Don't you
a
hurt
good
Luke.
reason for them to disappear for a bit and then come back later.
As long as they don't do a Heath.
Yeah, absolutely.
A what?
So
Exactly.
in season 6 he came in. He looks kind of like John Boyega, but he's got like a ponytail
ponytail.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Heath? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Well, the official statement, I suppose you could say, is that he was taken by whoever took Rick.
yeah.
The helicopter people.
The helicopter
The
people.
helicopter people.
And
That's
it
the
was-
official statement.
It was confirmed in the show, if you are like paying really close attention, because Jadis is when she comes to pick up Rick, she's driving the RV that Heath left in. So that kind of
Ah.
like confirms that, oh, okay, she definitely, there's a tie in there. So hopefully we'll see him in the Rick movies and they can redeem that somehow. But
Just saw his glasses left on the ground. Hey, and that was it.
Yeah. Next to a
Yeah.
little sign that had like the musical symbol for Whisper.
yeah, that's it. It had PPP
Wow.
written
Yeah.
on there, which is still a big mystery. Yeah, where that's gonna go. But
Why do you reckon he looks like John Boyega, Ben?
well, he does. I've got him
What
confused.
specifically?
When I'm not gonna say that. When I watched Kong Skull Island and I saw the actor in that, I was like, is that John Boyega or is that guy? 'Cause
Oh,
they-
maybe
they
it's
look
Morgan
similar.
Freeman. Oh.
No.
I'm not
is
not
that
going.
Will Smith?
Yeah.
I'm not-
They could get
Hey, there's lots of white guys who look the same as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
Samuel Jackson. Oh, I love that guy.
You're accusing me. Can't believe this. We got. I'm sure you would have been happy to see Carol get a punch to the face, Isaac.
Why would I be happy about that? That's abuse. Violence against women is never okay.
Very good
That is
answer.
the best response I've ever heard.
But I might have hit rewind and replay.
Whispering, look at the flowers.
Yeah. I don't get how people can take so many punches to the face just throughout the cinematic world and be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been accidentally hit in the face once and I took like a few minutes just to like nurse it and go like, you know.
Yeah.
So taking a full on swing to the jaw, there's no way you could just go, oh, okay, I guess you're mad about something.
Totally.
No.
I can remember at least in season 4, there was when Rick punched Tyrese, and then you've got Rick's got to get his hand stitched up
Yeah.
after punching this guy like a couple times, and Tyrese is out of action for a bit. So, yeah, that they definitely have done it a lot more realistically in the past.
Yeah.
But hey, well.
Abraham and Eugene.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh.
But look, deserving of it, maybe a little bit. Like, someone had to slap some sense into Carol and just sort of say, look at what you're doing to people.
Sure, yeah. I got to say, I'm actually not too upset at Carol at the moment. We'll have to see where it goes, but I feel like that was a bit of satisfaction. Yeah, okay, she deserved a punch.
Yeah.
And then what happens later, just, yeah,
She's
I'm
been
liking her
playing
a bit
chess
more.
this whole time.
Yeah, she's coming around on me,
Nah.
at least.
No chance.
Mm,
Not until we see Connie alive.
true,
Then
yeah.
she's off the hook.
Well, put it this way, Alpha's not the only one to lose her head over the series. Talking about Carol losing
Oh,
her
yeah,
head,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I
whatever.
got it. Nice one.
I'll work on that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost there. That's
Okay.
right. And just a little interesting one is Eugene and Carol. This is their first like on-screen interaction. They've never like talked before through all the seasons they've been in together.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that was cool to see. And same with her and Negan. They've never had like an interaction. So it's kind of cool to see that after all this time. You're saying, oh, okay, these guys are actually doing stuff together.
Because Carol wasn't present at that time, was she? When Negan bashed in the poor heads.
Yeah, so
No,
she
she
was
wasn't.
over at Kingdom in like a
Yeah.
wheelchair and stuff like that.
That's it.
Yeah, so she was probably in the same place as him a few times, but never had like an actual interaction with him.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's cool. And their little chat was alright. She's saying like, "Oh, go get Eugene," you know, the girl on the radio. So we'll see where that goes.
And Eugene was Eugene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Then we got Negan and everything that happens with him. So
Oh boy.
yeah, towards the start, we've got Beta's, telling him to herd up all the walkers and stuff like that. I love the scene of him just screwing around with the one zombie. He's like,
Yeah.
does a little limp for a bit and then like breaks character and waits till it turns around and looks at him and then like goes back into zombie. It was getting back to classic Negan, if you do want to press
Oh,
that.
I do have a classic Negan. Where is it? There it is.
Damn! Classic Negan.
Classic Negan. He's really starting to become more that character again, just screwing around, looking for someone to annoy and yeah, it's fun to see that side of his character whenever he can. And even like he's giving it a go and then he just goes, oh, screw this, just whacks it in the head. So that's the first kind of hint that we're getting that okay, he's probably not on the Whisperer's side because he's as soon as eyes are off him, then he's doing the opposite of what they've been telling him to do. So
Yeah. Yep.
starting to plant a few little hints there.
Well, right from the get-go, it was very much Negan discreetly going against them.
Yeah,
Like, even
for
when
sure.
he killed the Hilltop character, like
Yeah, that's right.
popped him in the head, and Alpha's like, the heart.
Yeah.
Sorry, force of habit.
My
Yeah.
bad.
With old frowny McTwo knives.
Yes. I think that's a big comic nickname that was in there that a lot of people were waiting for. So I'm glad that you remembered that. Yeah, and then he like comes across Aaron who's carrying Luke on the stretcher. And it's just that
Whoa.
moment of, look man, I can explain, but not right now.
This is not what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because imagine the horrors of Aaron seeing him holding that bat again.
Yeah.
And wearing the mask and everything.
like-
It's just like, hey,
What? Yeah. Like, what is there to explain? You're wearing a mask, holding a bloody bat, like a bat with blood on it.
it's like the worst of both worlds. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how he can sort of turn around and hopefully gain people's trust again, or whether or not he does. But yeah, there was kind of like a funny little moment of, look, I can explain, but I can't explain right now because it'll ruin it. Yeah. But thankfully a few walkers come in, and that's where the mask and the whisperer thing comes in handy, because they walk straight past Negan. So yeah. And then yeah, pretty much just the whole thing towards the end of the episode with him and Alpha. So
Well, on that beforehand,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he sees Lydia
yeah, that's
stumbling away, and that's why he goes to go pursue her.
right.
I don't get why, because I think they were buddying up. Yeah, they buddied up at one point. So I don't get why he had to like grab her and there was a struggle, and why he knocked her out. Like, why any of that when we learned what
Yeah.
the reveal was at the end?
I was the same, and I was really confused by that until I actually watched it twice.
Okay.
So after I rewatched it, the only thing I can think of is that he actually did care about Alpha, and he was trying the whole time to get her to redeem herself.
Yeah.
But she was constantly saying, no, I've got to do what I've got to do. I've got to kill Lydia, rah. But the whole time he was like, come on, I don't want to do this. If you just turn around and say, yep, cool, no worries, I'll spare you.
Yeah.
It seemed like he actually did care about her.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like there was that, and also just the unpredictability of Lydia. Well, she's seen him in a mask, so she's going to assume he's with the Whisperers, and even if she's, acts like she's on his side, then you just never know. And if she's running around and another Whisperer finds her, or Alpha comes across her, that's going to ruin the whole plan. So I feel like it was just, that was the safest thing to do. Look, this can't go wrong. I don't want to screw this whole situation up. I'm just going to tie her up and just leave her there somewhere safe, just for now, and then come back to her later. Because there's any number of ways it could have gone, and she's a bit of a wild card in his eyes. Like he doesn't know her very well, so yeah. So I feel like that was just to play it safe. Let's just tie her up somewhere, and yeah.
But again, I mean, if his plan overall was to take out Alpha, he could have just come to her and said, like, without even seeing Lydia, I
Yeah.
found what you're looking for. I
Yeah.
found her.
Yeah.
I've got her in this space here. Let's go.
Yeah, true.
So the fact that he actually took her, tied her up somewhere, put her in a barn or a little shack, whatever you want to call it, like it really confused me at first. But I think he actually did care about Alpha and was just
Yeah.
hoping she'd turn around and say, you know what, you're right. Yeah, let's try something different.
That was actually a shed. Just
Shed.
going with.
That's
Shed.
the
We
Oh,
care about
really?
this on this show. Yeah, it was a shed, not a shack.
hashtag accuracy.
I was gonna say cabin, because there are a lot of them in this episode. The rendezvous and the
Yeah.
Earl and all that. And
Just in the middle of nowhere, right?
Is cabin accurate, Isaac?
No,
Or
I
is it a
see.
shack?
I think.
Oh, wait, what did you say?
I said it was a shed.
Oh, okay. Shed.
Because cabins are generally on stilts, aren't they?
Maybe. I
Off
don't
the
know.
ground, if only slightly. Let's move along,
Okay.
shall we?
Well, listeners, let us know. Email us.
These are the important things.
That's right. Yeah, so I didn't like the switcheroo too much at the end. Just, I don't know. It's been done in lots of movies where it's, oh, this person's here, and then they open the door and it's not a different place. Yeah, I didn't like it too much. But as far as what the characters did, I can justify it and understand, why Negan did that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'd like it
what have you
more
got,
if,
Isaac?
just
Oh,
before
sorry,
you do
yeah,
that,
go
I'd
for
like it more if, like, I agree, the switch was unnecessary, but it would have been better if Lydia was in the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the
Oh.
shed.
The shed.
Oh, damn it.
I'll
If
tell you-
Lydia
I'll tell you
was
why.
in the shed, that he took Alpha to. I mean, if they'd explained that Negan cared about Alpha, then it would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed a bit pointless to have her in some random shed as
Right.
opposed to not in the one he takes her to.
Okay.
Yeah, they should have just explained it a bit better, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. What have you got, Isaac?
Okay, so the difference between a cabin and a shed is defined by wikidiff.com.
Thank you, WikiDiff.
So pretty much a cabin is to lodge or live in, whereas a shed is to store something.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a small enough space that, because we didn't see
I
any
feel
like,
like they were to...
were
well,
there,
at
were there
least-
cooktops and like cabinets in there and
I don't know. I'd have to watch
and a
it again,
bed?
to
I
be
don't think so. I
honest.
think it was just a chair inside of a room with walls.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Shed.
until
But-
further notice,
But the one that Earl and the kids were in, that was a cabin.
yes,
Okay.
I'm happy to say that,
All right. Okay.
Your Honor.
One other thing I'd say, well, yes, I agree. And that's probably why he took this long to kill Alpha. Is I feel like he was trying to, have a chance to see if he could redeem her, especially because he's been in the same shoes. He's been
Exactly.
the leader of this
Yeah.
enemy group, and that's what he would have wanted a chance to, to turn around and for it to not go that way.
Well, because Negan as well
Yeah.
has always said that people are the most valuable resource, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And so for Alpha's mentality to be like, they'll just join the Horde and whatever, and the dead are, the what do they call them, the protectors or something, or the guardians,
Yeah.
or something like. You can tell it's all twisted from the start, and the fact that she wants to kill her own daughter because she loves her and she has to do it.
It
is her
destiny.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like it's so against what Negan is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of saying, because he says that himself, like, you still love her. You don't, it's good to have emotions and all of that. And she was like, well, I got to do this because I love her. And it's like, well, okay, then you
Yeah.
are lost.
I feel like he was yeah, nice Star Wars
Crossover time.
I feel like it was
It's over, Alpha! I have the high ground!
Did he have? He
No,
had the low
he's,
ground,
he's
didn't he?
taller, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he's always got the high ground. I feel like it was sort of a really desperate last attempt. Like he just laid it all out on the table. He said, the whole thing of we are animals and all that's all garbage. Like he just was completely straight with her and tried his best.
Talked
And
about
he-
his wife. And
Yeah, that's it. And he really left it to the last minute to see if she would actually go ahead and open the door to go and kill Lydia. And when it got to that point and she was still going to go through with it, then it's like, oh, well, that's, no redeeming her then.
Yeah.
So now I've got to do it.
Mm.
I feel like that was... Maybe we'll get more insight later on into what was going on in his head throughout all this. But yeah.
I like as well, and I've seen this done before in this show. I can't quite remember where, but even after he slits her throat and she's got that look of shock and sort of like, there's no hate in her eyes and there's no hate in his eyes. Like he even gives her a little kiss as well as she's going back down, even smiles a little bit. And it's not like a menacing smile. It's kind of like I understand, like, I hope this is okay type. That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
And I like that it doesn't have to be a personal type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly with her saying, that she's not afraid of death. She'll then just become a walker and walk with the Horde anyway. So, well, she won't now because her head's been cut off. But for her, that's I feel like she didn't really value life and stuff like that. She was it's not a big deal if she dies and becomes a walker to her. So
I thought of afterwards how hilarious it would have been if, like, Negan tosses the head over to Carol and the head just kind of says, I'm stronger now. Thank you. Okay.
that little bit's just stuck around like nerve, like that's just what it does by default. Totally. Yeah, and there's a little bit of I don't know, poetry or whatever you'd call it, but rhyme, whatever. But Negan got his throat slit by Rick, and then he goes and slits.
Echoes.
Echoes. Yeah, that's probably a better word. There we go. Yeah, and then the big, well, if that wasn't a big enough reveal, then he rolls the head over and it's Carol who it turns out let him out in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're assuming, and has been kind of masterminding the whole thing. So what was your reaction to that?
I was annoyed.
Okay.
I'm like, why have you been so hell-bent on trying to kill the Horde? Like, I get that you want to destroy the Horde to keep everyone safe, but you've already put something in play to take out Alpha. Why are you then risking everybody else? Like, why not just let him do his thing for a while? That it frustrated me straight from the get-go.
Sure, yeah.
That's a hard concur from me.
Okay.
How about you?
I didn't think about it heaps. Well, I listened to like 5 different Walking Dead podcasts or YouTube channels
Oh,
and stuff like
really?
that. So then I go and sort of hear what everyone else has to say about it. The best defense I heard was that, because even she said, "Oh, it took you long enough," was that after a while of Negan being out there and it still wasn't happening, that she sort of got desperate and thought, "Oh, maybe that's not going to work," and she started really sort of freaking out and trying to do it herself.
Mm.
That's sort of it's not a justification, but I guess that explains a little bit of why she was so desperate to do it herself, even though she'd already sent out Negan to kind of do the deed.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, 2 questions from that sort of arise in my mind. First of all, is Negan going straight back in a cell? Pretty much is the first question. Like, is killing Alpha enough for him to finally prove to like Alexandra or whoever, I'm on your side. I just want to survive with you guys. Like, look what I've done and all of that. And secondly, because he took out the leader, is he now technically in charge of like the whole Whisperers group? Isn't that their law? Or is like Beta going to assume that position?
Yeah, you're right, actually.
'Cause there's no way Beta's going to bend the knee. No.
Nah, no chance. And that's something from the comics that they've been not teasing, but like just the animosity between Negan and Beta. They've added that from the comics to the show, which I really like.
Sure.
So you can never see Beta, as you say, bending the knee, which is fantastic because I want to see them go at it. I reckon that'll be great.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Whether they even just send him back to now lead the Whisperers because he's killed Alpha. Probably not, but it's interesting.
Because if that was the plan, then why he would go back to Carol with the head? You know.
Sure. Yeah. So in the comics, it's just Negan gets out of the cell and he goes and does it as his own thing. No one else is behind it. And then when he cuts her head off, he's like, "Oh, wait till Rick sees this," and that's sort of he's trying to do that to redeem himself and show that he's on the side of Alexandria and all that. So this is definitely very different to the source material, and yeah, it could go any number of ways, really. I mean, and I'm also curious as to if anyone else was potentially in on it, if other people are aware of it or not, or if it was just Carol. I don't know, but even so, there was like Magna and Kelly and stuff like that were storing food out. They were stealing food from Hilltop and storing it in like a backup location. So there's other people around who could have other agendas or things going on who, or at least could have been aware of it. So even either of them, I wouldn't be crazy surprised if they knew about it at least, but we'll see. Probably not Magna because she was super angry at Carol, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then one final thought I had on that. I put it to you, Liam.
Ooh, here we go.
If you were to, and just walk with me on this idea for a second. If you were to cut off somebody's head and then show me that you had cut off their head, how would you present the head to me, right?
As in, would I put it in a bag and roll it towards you?
Well, how would you lift it up to show me? Usually.
With the hair.
By the hair, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that with Alpha.
No.
You would have had to hold it like side by side, all those kind of people that can hold a basketball with one hand. So that's just a thought that I had. My mind goes there. I'm like, how would you show someone like?
Well, it's on the ground now. Someone's got to pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the bag was a good move, I think.
Yeah.
Just football it over.
Here you go. I'm definitely
Pass it.
curious to see if Carol does anything with it and puts the head on a spike or whatever. I don't know how that could play out,
I
but
wouldn't put it past her.
it could be cool to see. Yeah, definitely. Actually, one thing as well that sort of it made me feel more for Carol, at least, even if it doesn't justify her actions, is so I've been away at Rottnest over the week, and last time I was there this time last year was the week the Pikes episode aired. So it always seems to happen on like the big event episode by some annoying coincidence. But there's actually, before I watched this episode, I was like, trying to, just refresh myself, because I kind of knew what was coming with the spoiler and all that. But there's like a spot there where I remember going after I had watched the Pikes episode, and there's like these fence posters that actually look like it.
Oh, damn.
And it's like real windy and stuff like that. So actually going there and just being in that location kind of brought me back to the feeling of like when I first watched the Pikes episode, and I listened to the music and stuff just to get in the mood, and I'm like,
Why would you bring yourself back there?
yeah, just because I wanted to like woke myself up for like being really
Wow.
against Alpha and like what Carol's feeling, because she that's her son. She'd been raising him for 6 or 7 years or something, and then this crazy lady comes and cuts his head off. So
Yeah.
like coming back to that and really sort of getting into the emotion of that.
Your family are a bit concerned watching
Yeah.
you put watermelons on spikes and like drawing faces on them.
That made me feel more for Carol and really why she wants revenge.
Yeah.
So when that happened and when it's like Carol behind it all, I was like, yes, that really made me, yeah.
Okay.
There
Vengeance.
we go.
Oh dear.
That's the crazy escapades I get up to.
Watermelons on spikes.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much sums it up. There's a lot that could happen from here. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Next episode is going to be a Michonne episode. They put out the
Really?
little trailer for that. So we're not going to see a continuation of any of this stuff
Great.
as far as
Makes
I'm
me
aware.
sad.
Yeah. So
Well, not me actually. I've been so
Yeah.
hanging out for.
sad because
Seeing
I'm
this
looking
island.
forward to what will happen next
Yeah.
with Carol and all that, but also excited to see Michonne. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I'm all for seeing a Michonne episode, but after what we've just seen, I'm like,
Right,
why are you
right.
gonna leave me hanging?
I'll make you feel better about it. This is something I don't know where like who found it out or whatever, but apparently they were originally planning to do the Michonne episode this week, so that would be after the big hilltop cliffhanger with the fire and all that.
Oh.
And that would have just sucked. That would have been
Yeah.
like, come on, guys, really? So,
Especially given how fast the battle finished up. Yeah.
So I'm very glad that that they didn't do that, and I'm, Alpha's head getting cut off and all that. It leaves a lot of open ends, but it's sort of a bit of closure for now, where you can leave it there for a week and then go and do something else and come back to it. So I
That's
think
it.
it's good timing.
Yeah.
And we're running with the possibility that we might get a hint of Rick on this island. Possibly.
Potentially,
Ah.
yeah.
Military base, helicopter people.
Mm,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, totally.
Even
And,
just like
yeah.
seeing in a room, like Michonne might walk past this room and it's like, who's in there? Oh, you can't go in there, don't go in there. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. So there's Thorgon9 on Instagram. He interacts with us a lot and stuff like that. He's a cool guy.
Shout out.
Yeah. He commented that he's interested to see how the CRM plays into everything. So I'm sure you definitely don't know. You might know, Liam. So pretty much the helicopter's got like 3 circles on it, and that Scott Gimple, who's like the overseer or whatever his role title is, he's sort of put out that that represents 3 communities, and Fear the Walking Dead has sort of tied into it a little bit. We've seen a few characters who fly around in the helicopters, and the new spin-off show that's coming out is set in one of those communities, one of the 3 that the circles represents. So I don't know what CRM stands for. I can't remember, but
Oh, that's helpful.
yeah. But it's sort of they've given us a hint as to what it is, or the fact that it's these communities, but there's still a lot of mystery around where Rick was taken, what they're doing with him, what that
Yeah.
community could be up to, whether they're doing experiments or whatever. So who knows? And yeah, it'll be interesting if any of that comes up in this episode with Michonne.
That'd be cool. It'd be nice because this is her last season, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think this will probably be the last episode that she's in as well.
Okay. Well, I hope they give her a send off, whether they complete her story arc or not. I hope it's a send off where she can reunite with Rick.
Totally, especially in
nice.
the movies would be cool.
Civil Republic Military.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
CRM.
That works.
I was thinking Commonwealth.
Yeah, so that's in the comics.
Yeah.
There's a Commonwealth. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just doing their own version of it and changing it, because the comics ended sort of in the Commonwealth, and the whole story of that really revolved around Rick, so
Yeah.
you can't really do it the same way in the show.
Very
Right.
true.
Yeah. But yes, that'll be interesting. He sort of just mentioned that on Instagram. That he's curious as to how that's all going to tie in. So, hoping we'll potentially get some hints for that in next week's episode if Virgil's military base has even anything to do with it, which it might be completely unrelated, but who knows?
Fingers
We'll
crossed.
see.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
very good.
Yet I smile.
And yet I smile. And please, if you have spoilers, don't post them.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
We don't want to see them.
Let's all be decent human beings.
That's it.
We will post a video of the three of us crying on Instagram
Yeah.
and Facebook.
That'll just feed the trolls. We don't want to do that.
Nah, you don't want that on your conscience. Trust me.
That's
You
true.
haven't seen Isaac cry yet.
No,
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
it's catching. You see me cry, you'll brim up. I don't care how tough you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like Daryl. You see Daryl cry.
Oh, that's exactly
You're
right.
gonna cry, man.
So you have been warned.
Yeah, that's
spoil-
right. That's
An
right.
ugly crier
No
too.
spoilers. We will find you. We will kill you.
We'll spoil you.
Yeah. That's it. Yes. So next up, we've got our segment called
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
"Nicely Done." Only
As
Liam
always.
can
Forgot
do
what
that.
segment we were doing for a second.
sorry, I sprung that on you last minute. So this segment gives us a chance to just talk about the earlier seasons of the show. We started the podcast halfway through season 10, so there's a lot of show that we haven't talked about here, and now we get a chance to talk about it. So, Isaac, why don't you go first this week?
Okay, and
What's something you've got?
this is something, and you challenged us a little while back to ask you about seasons and episodes and sort of like,
Okay,
this is how come.
yeah.
And I get the feeling you might appreciate this one, seeing as I know you have a T-shirt of this.
Yeah.
Talking about Carl and his chocolate eating,
Yeah.
sitting on the roof.
The pudding.
Yeah. What season you reckon?
season 4, episode 9,
Wow.
Wow.
called After, I think. I think that's what
That
it's
is
called.
impressive.
Wow. Okay, so I can't really set the scene just because it's been a little while, but I do remember he's kind of going about his day, just sort of doing it
Yeah.
as he wants to. And there's something so freeing, particularly about eating something that is a treat, like confectionary
Yeah.
thing. You know, just sitting down on the roof of all places, just spoon right into the tub, and I liked it. It was like, you don't have a care in the world right now.
Yeah.
Not really.
Living his best life.
Especially in the apocalypse, there's not. You can't just go to the shops and buy some chocolate. Like that's
Yeah.
that's a rare occurrence. So, yeah.
Anytime I can have Carl in my Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you said, I've got a T-shirt of that of him sitting with the pudding and stuff like that. I totally agree. I love that scene. Hey, it's just a nice sort of moment. That whole episode is kind of him coming of age because Rick's like passed out on the couch, and
That's
so
it.
he's got to go and
Yeah.
kind of fend for himself a little bit. And it's just that nice moment of, I'm still a kid. I love pudding and all that, but I'm sort of growing up now and. Just something nice about being alone out on a roof eating pudding. Any thoughts, Liam?
About that in particular, or
Yeah, or
that
whatever.
was that was great. I agree. Everything you said. It was just very freeing, wasn't it? You're still a kid,
totally.
and you see that kid sort of shine through. Like, He just wants to sit on a roof and eat pudding.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to do that when
Who
you're
doesn't?
a kid? It's great.
100%. Alrighty, Liam, what have you got?
Actually, funnily enough, in a very similar time frame.
Come
No,
on
no,
now.
Yeah, I rewatched a
This is
snippet of it on YouTube. You know how you get YouTube recommendations?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
This one popped up. It was the governor and Rick. They face off at the prison right
Okay.
before everything goes pear shaped.
Liar.
So yeah,
Liar.
yeah, that
Mm.
whole sequence there. I completely forgot that he got shot because I remember
Yeah.
thinking back to. Man, Rick is just such a beast. How did he get beaten by so severely by the governor? The governor was just some power hungry goose.
Yeah, he was like
But-
a pulp after that, Rick.
Yeah, he got absolutely minced.
Mashed.
But but it was because he got shot. I completely forgot about that. Like after the guns start firing, because obviously R.I.P. Herschel, he was just decapitated.
Oh,
Well, he
Yeah.
was slashed. Yeah, bullets start flying and Rick takes a bullet. I'm like, yep. So that's how he was beaten so easily. Well-
Yeah, totally. Does the governor get hit as well? Does he get hit in the arm or something like that?
I think he cops one. I
Yeah,
think.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah, he
like he
did.
does. I don't know though. I'd have to check.
Yeah, he did. So they should have been equals.
Yeah.
I retract my statement. Rick should have won from the get-go.
Yeah, they're both
Yeah.
in pretty bad shape though. So it's a brutal fight.
Yeah, but that whole fight sequence was awesome. And then the finale
Absolutely.
of Michonne coming in with the sword again.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, there's so much
Yeah.
in that scene. I might even just save some stuff for later episodes of this because there's so many great things that happen there. But yeah,
Oh,
it was
if-
really well done.
If you'll let me talk about the tank in the
Oh, of
next
course.
episode.
Yeah,
I'll
oh,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah, sure. I'll
They have
leave
a
the
freaking
to you.
tank. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, good one. Good pick. And actually, a little random tidbit for the podcast. So, the podcast that we're doing now called Just Keep Walking.
Yeah.
The end of that episode has Rick and Carl sort of walking away with the prison burning in the background. And that's the last line that he says for sort of that half of the season is, "Don't look back, Carl. Just keep walking." So that's kind of where a little bit of where I got the idea from
Yeah.
for the name.
It's good.
And Andy Lincoln, he's sort of like, I think the line was "just look back" or "don't look back" in the script, but then he wanted the last word to be "walking," like for Walking Dead, so he like
Nice.
added that little bit in himself.
like
I think, yeah.
Nice.
I would have got a soundbite of it, but he kind of like mumbles it, so it's not really that good to as a soundbite. But yeah, anyways, there we go. There we go. So I've got. I'm even debating whether if I get put in isolation or something because of this coronavirus thing, if I do a whole essay video about this. But I love the music of the show and all that, and I've.
Just as a sweeping statement.
Oh no, so I'm going into something specific,
Okay,
but but yeah, so I love the music. I love Ben McCreary, and I listen to it a lot. And there's a lot of little themes that recur and stuff like that. So one in particular, I'll probably insert this in the edit. I'll play a little bit to you guys now, and then just edit it up. But season 9 starts with like I'll show you. We start with that theme, and it's just got the violin and like, yeah, probably a few violins. I don't know if it's cellos or whatever. I don't know anything. Yeah.
Give yourself a bit of credit, man.
And then in episode 2, we've got a similar reoccurrence of it. So yeah, so it's got like the same theme, a bit of addition to it. You've got the guitar and stuff like that in there, but it sort of ends a bit unresolved, and it's still, they're building the bridge, and pretty much the theme of the season is really like bringing people together and trying to make all these communities unite. So it kind of starts off and it's a bit unresolved, and you've got like, it's still great music and everything, but then when we get towards the end of the season, when all the communities actually do come together and they're all signing the agreement, whatever it is, that we're all gonna stick together and have each other's backs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then you hear this version of it, which is like a real full, complete version of the same music. So I'll put that bit in there. Sort of plays out for a bit.
I like that. I never noticed that they did that way.
Yeah, I like just little how they sort of tie that into the themes of what's happening. How there's sort of, we're trying to bring these communities together and then building, and then when it finally does, everyone comes together. Then the music, is the same theme but this full version of it, and yeah, it's really cool and clever. I like how they did that.
I agree.
There we go. There we go. One last thing that I asked you guys to do was to pitch a scene of Rick returning to the communities, to the show. Not so much how that would happen or anything, but just like even a specific scene or him like realizing something that's happened while he's away or a reunion, whatever it is. So yeah, that's what I've asked you to come up with. Can be funny or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, what have you got?
Can I palm that off to you first?
Okay.
Go for it. I decided. See, my default is to go comedy.
Okay, yeah, why not?
Me too. Me too.
Why
Good.
not?
But
Good.
I didn't. I'm like, no,
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
change it up.
Oh.
Yeah, I went
No.
super dark.
Oh.
I went very dark.
Damn.
So the one that I thought of was the helicopter comes back
Okay.
and drops off Walker Rick. so-
Ah.
Someone, I didn't really picture who, but he's outside of the gates of Alexandria, but he's a walker now.
Wow.
So they open the thing and Rick is just there as a walker. And
No
they're like,
way.
what?
He just like
chaos.
shows up after
Yeah.
all this time.
Yeah, I don't know why the helicopter brought him back, but as soon as
Yeah.
that's just where my mind went. I'm like, I wonder what would happen if they're like, oh yeah, we're done with him. We'll put him back where we found him. And
Yeah, maybe. They could
Yeah.
have some weird philosophy about like leaving the world how you found it or whatever.
they could.
Wow.
they could.
Maybe.
And then just
That
the
would be
chaos
sad.
that happens after that, like Daryl going out on a run or something and seeing him and like,
I've been looking for you all this time.
then turns around and
Right, AMC, please don't listen to that part.
no,
Yeah,
don't
don't-
ever do that ever.
it's not a suggestion. It's
Not
just
even a little bit.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, wow, okay. I hadn't thought that. That's an interesting take. I imagine, yeah, after all that, and even you've got this little bit of hope that he's still out there, but then, no, he's a walker.
Yeah,
Devo.
Wow.
Oh, that's sad. All
just
right.
to kill the mood a little bit.
Oh.
Isaac, what have
Well,
you got?
I went for two options. The first was comical, which
Okay.
I had hoped that one of you guys, because I don't know, I had thought maybe he could just use the same tunnels that Beta tunneled through, and then he just kind of like a little gopher just pops out of the hole in Alexandria, and it just I don't know. That was a completely silly thing. But the more serious one I thought of was, how he has those dreams, or those visions where he's an old man like with a beard.
Yeah,
full
right.
white beard, and walks downstairs and talks to his children and everything like that. Classic Biggie Smalls. It was all a dream. That's where I was gonna go with it. Like
Okay.
he never actually left. The explosion was kind of like him waking up from the dream, and that helicopter was just the segue from the dream into reality, which was he was actually an old
Ah.
man.
Yeah.
you know.
Ah,
So
interesting.
again, I wasn't quite sure what you were asking in the.
Yeah, it was kind of vague, but I think I'd see what you guys came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
What do you got?
And then the gopher one. I can imagine he's like spent like years trying to like make his way back to the community. He gets there, he's like, I'm gonna surprise everybody. Sneaks in. Surprise.
That's the reason why Beta was able to. That's where the tunnels came from.
Yeah.
It was him all along.
There's a Rick tunneling just so that he could have like a shock entrance.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I like both of those. That's funny. Mine's fairly comical as well, actually. So this is like a few years have gone by. Negan's really gained everyone's trust. He's a part of the community now. And we've seen him be like a father figure to Judith, right? To some extent.
Right.
They have a good relationship, and he like saved her in the snowstorm and all that. So Michonne's left or whatever's happened, and so Negan's pretty much adopted Judith as like his daughter, and he's raising her, and she calls him dad and stuff like that. So I'm imagining like Rick, there's like a search party that's out, or just a group out scouting, and Negan's part of the party, and they find Rick, and they're sort of coming and bringing him back into the community. And then maybe they've been out for a few days or something, but as they're like coming into the community, and Rick's like seeing Alexandria for the first time after all this, and Judith runs and says, "Daddy," but then like runs straight past Rick and hugs Negan.
No.
That's not comical. That's cold as ice.
That's worse than Liam's.
Because like she would be like, she wouldn't remember what he looks like or anything, probably, because she was too
No.
small. So I thought
Wow.
that'd be kind of funny.
Can you imagine Negan's response too? Like,
Oh.
ooh, not now, kid, not
Yeah,
now.
bad timing.
Ooh.
All right. Well, on that note, whatever kind of note that is, we'll leave the show
Downer.
there. So yeah, we'd love you guys to get in touch with us. This whole thing's run by Turn Sounds, and we run a pile of other podcasts as well.
Indeed.
So you can find out all about this one, all those at turnsounds.com. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, then you can email us through the website or turnsounds@gmail.com or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those really. You just search for Turn Sounds and you can send us a message or whatever, and we'll we'll love to hear from you, what you want to talk about, any questions or anything like that. So yeah,
Excellent.
whatever you got,
Yes.
we'd love to chat with you. Yes, there we go. Filling in the silence.
Well, look, just to back up what you're saying, community is what Turn Sounds is all about. So it's like,
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, you've got the better wording for this.
if anybody at any point just has the silliest ideas, questions about the show that we're talking about, and you just want to voice them out loud,
Yeah.
we'll have you or your ideas on the show.
Yeah,
It's like,
totally.
Yeah.
And especially if you watch the episode and have like a certain reaction or theory or something like that,
Yeah.
just like if you send it to us fairly quickly after the episode airs, then we'll we'll make sure to sort of talk about it when we record the podcast, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or also your theories of, or not
No.
theories, but scenes of Rick returning. Any of those are welcome. So I have been your host, Ben, and
I have been Isaac still.
I have still been Liam,
Hooray!
as far as I'm aware.
I
There are
don't know
times
if
where I'm not sure.
we should work on something better, or if we should just leave it at that, because I don't even know how it started. But
I'm
but there
still
we go.
Isaac.
Yeah,
Haven't turned yet. Yeah.
that's fun. That's fun.
Which
Sure.
actually, I am so sorry I left this till this
Well,
long.
no, go for it.
In regards to old man that died in this episode,
Oh, Earl, yeah.
Earl, yes, we all love Earl. Old man. How are people in this day and age still getting bites on the wrist of all places? That's like,
Yeah, shouldn't he have like something wrapped around his
Yeah.
arm or whatever?
no, not only that, but like, you got your wrists in front of you. There's no way that a zombie could approach you or walker that could approach you and bite down on that. Like, if he had like a shoulder bite from behind where one had snuck up on him. But it's like, people have been in this fight long enough not to have what happened to girl,
Earl, yep.
that girl, you know.
Very true.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be getting bites on the forearms of all places anymore. Like, that's just rookie material.
Oh, you were saying Amy. Is that what?
Amy.
Yeah, okay.
Not like
yeah,
Amy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's fair.
That got me. I was kind of like, oh, you should have had it somewhere, you know, anywhere else.
Because I don't think he was on the front lines of the battle. That
No, he
would have
wasn't.
made sense if he was like reaching
Yeah.
out with a sword and one
Right.
grabbed him and bit his arm or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, he was more in the community and helping the kids out and stuff. So,
That's
very
it.
fair.
Yeah.
Very fair. There we go. I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Okay, cool. Well, there we go. Thanks for listening, and tune in a couple of days when we review the next episode. And
Boom.
we'll love to see you then.
See you then.
Bye.